Hey, so now the next one activity we're going to do is the database activity. It's a good one. It's a fun one. It's got a lot of possibilities, but I'm going to show you a quick little thing first and then move on. So here we go. So if you remember last time, we had made this, and it says that you have to complete this first, okay? And it's hidden otherwise. So this is what it means, is if you switch your role to student, you can kind of play around with this because we made it the right thing, okay? So here we go. We'll go back down there. So see how this is the progress monitor, and we said just check it to say that you did it. Well, it's unchecked, and look down below, there is no choice activity. But if we click this, the choice activity shows up. So if we completed this, then this shows up. That's the idea. All right. So anyway, we'll go back to return my original role, and we'll just get started here. So a database activity, while I'm doing this, a database activity is really just a way, what a database is. It's a collection of things, whatever things you want it to be. It could be images, it can be websites, it can be text, it can be whatever you want, okay? And so how we go about doing that is we go to here and we just click on create a database. Okay, and I'm going to say this as usual. I'm going to call it Smith Test Database. And, oops, can't spell. This is my test database. I'm going to go pretty quick through the settings because it's really the action takes place once you save this. So in entries, you can see if you can approve the entry. So you'd have to go in, they highlight the entries, and you have to say they're approved before other people can see them. You can change to allow editing. You can allow comments, which is a really interesting thing. You could start discussions through pictures or through your database if you really wanted to. Entries required before viewing. So how many are they going to have to put in before they see other people's stuff? And maximum number of entries. So how many can they put in? Availability, obvious by looking at it, what it means. Grade, if your grade book and you're using this to grade, you can set up grading purposes. Ratings is an interesting one because you can have students rate the entries, and then you could grade off the average rating of the entries if you wanted to, or however you want to do it, maximum rating, minimum rating. So you could give a requirement of this, and if people found it really useful, they could rate it however they wanted. That's all these settings are about, setting that up. These are typical settings, and then we got the last couple that are always here is restrict access, which restrict access is again when this one, add a restriction to when this one becomes available, and activity completion is when is this complete. So these two kind of play off each other. Okay, when you are done, you want to save and display. All right, so when you save and display, you get this. And why I did this first is you actually have to put in the fields of the database. So you got to imagine like a spreadsheet, and each column of the spreadsheet, those would be your fields. So if the first column is the name, the second column is the picture, the third column is the whatever, that's what it is, okay? And so we can sit and choose what type of field it is. We could say, if is it the date, is it the file to be given in, a latitude and longitude, a menu, a multi-menu, a number, a picture, a radio button, a text area, or text input, or just a URL. And so we could sit there and say, well, let's make it a text area, and we'll call the field name description, and the field description. They should understand that. And it gives you how big the box is going to be. This was a required field. And the maximum embedded size, well, there's no size, so we can sit add. Okay, our next field, let's say we want to collect pictures. So we're just going to collect a picture. The file name is your picture. It's a picture. And is it a required field? Yes. And then how big do we want it to be when we look at it in single view or list view? Because you can look at your database as a list or just one at a time. And we'll just say like width 750 by 450. How about that? 750, and do the same for both. Now, unfortunately, it would only be 2 meg For us, that's going to have to change. And then you just click add. And so now we are done. Well, in this case, we're done with the fields. Then what you would have to do is you can look at the templates that are around, and what these templates are is what it looks like. Okay, so you can see these are the fields that we're collecting is the description and the picture. So we have it right there. And then we have all these other things that could be in there, like edit, delete, approve, disapprove, export. So those are all there. If we want to change these, we can click and change them. However, we can just keep the default templates if we want to. That's the single view template. We have the list view template. So this is you setting all this up so what the students see. Okay, so what they see when they're going through things is all these. And you can see these hashtag, hashtag, edit, hashtag, hashtag. That shows up right there. So this is telling you exactly how it would look. And so if I wanted to get rid of tags, I could actually delete it out of there and save it. So that is up to you how you want to do your templates, but basically that's it. You can also have a header section and a footer section, and both of those are important just because you could add extra text like a description of what you want them to do and all that kind of thing. When you are done, then so again, what you have to do is you have to do your fields, your templates, add entry is what students will do, and then you have some presets here. You can see some other presets that if you want to do, you can, or you don't have to. You can say use as an image gallery, and you could say, yep, let's do that. Okay, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. And that's pretty much it. Once it's set up, just to show you what a student sees really fast, because I think I'm getting around my 5 minutes, is I don't have permission to be in there, so I'll just go to Introduction to Moodle, and I'll go down to Database, and I'll go in the database. It says there's no entries, right? And here's view, so all I would get is add an entry. And so now here's my description that I can do, and you can see the size of the box, and then I could add the image right there. If I didn't want to have them type all this in, then what I could have done is put my stuff in the header saying put a picture in, so on and so forth. So you got a lot of flexibility in how you do this. It's a really flexible thing to collect information, i.e. Journal articles, pictures, web URLs, whatever you really want, but it's a collection of stuff that if you wanted to build it over the semester or for a project, and you could say, okay, we're going to use all this information we find to then come up with stuff, you could do that as well. So it's a really, really powerful tool, really, really interesting tool. That's where we'll stop for the day. Next one is external, I can't remember, external tools.